Tonight, stuck in the mud. Southern California trying to dig out after a week-long monster storm, only to learn more rain could be on the way. I'm Erica Hill. Also tonight, hitting the road. More Americans are traveling this holiday season, while at the malls, shoppers are in a spending mood. It was the Congress everyone loved to hate.
Hell no, you can't!
But it also passed more landmark bills than any session in 4 decades. And the 8-year-old who's giving Santa Claus a run for his money.
From CBS News World Headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening. Katie is off tonight. The West is finally seeing a break in the clouds, but a week of storms has left a serious mess behind. Runoff is still sweeping over roads in some places, while in other areas, residents are finding almost everything they own buried in mud. And it's all due to wave after wave of storms. A week of weather that dropped up to 26 inches of rain. In the mountains, some places saw more than 13 feet of snow. Tonight, that system is losing strength as it heads east, though it is bringing some more snow to the Rockies. Bill Whitaker is in hard-hit Highland, California tonight. Bill, good evening.
Good evening, Erica. The cost of cleaning up these storm-ravaged communities east of Los Angeles now estimated at $40 million. But local officials surveying this damage say they expect that figure to climb much higher. Residents of the city of Highland are now stuck at ground zero in a river of drying mud. This neighborhood was wiped out when a drainage canal clogged with debris sent a fast-moving river of murky water and mud through hundreds of homes.
It hit my house like thunders hit my house.
Louis Barrera ran to save his elderly neighbor and returned to find he had lost everything in his house.
Everything waist level got totally ruined. All I got left is my clothes, my papers and some pictures. My cars, everything's buried.
Today, the city started digging out and cleaning up, while friends and neighbors helped clear 3 feet of mud from in front of Frank Gutierrez's house. Inside, the family faced this nightmare just before Christmas.
His hat. Where is his hat?
He was too distraught to talk. Up the street, city officials gave the Constante family 10 minutes to go back into their house and salvage what they could. Every room was caked in mud.
We can all replace it, as long as we all got out alive.
Heavy rains caused a torrent of water and rocks to flow down the mountain and through the center of town, crashing into bridges and flowing through this neighborhood. Today, residents got some help from county prisoners who are digging out cars and moving debris.
Probably 3 or 4 days just to get the streets cleaned.
66 miles away, this was Laguna Beach today. Shopkeepers rushing to clean up, hoping to salvage what's left of Christmas shopping.
I think Christmas was saved. I think it will be saved today. We know that everyone's going to come out and support our local businesses.
This was Laguna Beach yesterday. Rain-flooded streets looked like a raging river. This runoff fouled town beaches. In fact, beaches all along the Southern California coast have been contaminated.
Everything on the street, whether it's trash, motor oil, animal waste, you name it, that gets washed into the storm drain and onto our beaches. In San Diego, Qualcomm Stadium, underwater yesterday, has been drained and dried for tonight's College Bowl game. Now, while people here are cleaning up, the storm that did all this is moving on. New Mexico and Colorado tonight, Dallas tomorrow night, and Christmas, it will hit Atlanta. Also on Christmas, another storm is expected to hit Southern California. Erica?
Can't seem to catch a break. Bill Whitaker, thanks. Millions of Americans, meantime, are heading home for Christmas tonight, most of them by car. It's estimated 93% of this year's holiday travelers are driving. That's nearly 86 million people. And as Don Teague reports, they face skyrocketing prices at the pump.
All right, have a good Christmas.
In Dallas, Texas, Eric Palmer and his family are on the road to Grandma's house 700 miles away in Colorado.
It's not too far for us to drive. I mean, as a family, we're always taking long trips.
It's only 12 hours.
Yeah. A trip that will cost much more this Christmas with gas prices on the rise. Nationwide, the average price for regular $3.01 a gallon, a 43-cent jump from last year, and the first time gas has ever topped $3 at Christmas.
This is the highest I've ever paid.
The Palmers are among the more than 92 million Americans on the move this holiday week by car, train, bus, and plane, a 3% increase over last year.
It's going to be what it's going to be.
Despite higher prices on everything from hotel rooms, up 5%, and airline tickets, also up 5%, to an average of $421. Median spending for holiday travel up 3.5% to $694.
It's a combination of a slightly improved economy and just a strong desire to spend time with family and friends.
The good news for today, few travel delays related to bad weather. Long lines at airports stemmed from higher volume and new security scans and pat-downs brought on by the so-called underwear bomber of last Christmas. But while pre-Christmas travel has been relatively smooth, getting home could be a different story. Forecasters are watching that big storm system that could bring snow all along the East Coast and even to the south on Christmas Day. Erica?
Don, thanks, Don. This evening, as more Americans are heading out on the highway, many of them, it turns out, are also hitting the mall. After 2 disappointing holiday seasons, retailers say consumers are once again opening up their wallets. And Elaine Quijano is in New York's Times Square tonight with a few shoppers. Elaine, good evening.
Good evening to you, Erica. Well, last-minute shoppers have plenty of company. One survey shows 23 million people plan to wrap up their holiday shopping tomorrow, Christmas Eve. In the midst of Christmas gift crunch time,
Anything, I'll take anything.
Retailers are crunching the numbers and seeing consumers back in the holiday spirit. Last Super Saturday weekend, retail sales increased 5.5% compared to a year ago. Foot traffic in stores was up 3%, and online sales jumped a whopping 17%.
We're letting our breath out. We're feeling better about our economy. And one of the ways to express that is, I'm a shopper and I'm back and I'm ready to spend.
Business is so good, the National Retail Federation revised its holiday sales forecast from 2.3 to 3.3%, with consumers heading back to traditional holiday gifts like electronics, jewelry, and clothes. Apparel sales are up almost 10% over last year, a sign consumers are once again spending money on themselves.
Did you get anything for yourself?
Of course.
What did you end up getting?
I ended up getting a sweater for myself, too.
Christmas Eve is expected to be another big shopping day as consumers hold out for deals.
We see a lot of last-minute shoppers, customers coming in looking for that bang for their buck, looking for that excellent bargain.
Yet those discounts are not as deep as in past years. Experts say retailers this year have kept a better handle on inventory, which means fewer fire sales and bigger profits. Still, companies are trying to lure consumers in other ways.
It's really about convenience. We're seeing extended store hours. We're seeing next day shipping being discounted. Whatever the retailer can do to make that experience easier, they're going to do.
Now, among the top sellers this year are gift cards, yet 1 in 4 people surveyed said gift cards remain in a drawer a year after they're received. Still, under new legislation, gift cards bought now will have to remain valid for 5 years. Erica?
Elaine, thanks. In Europe tonight, new concerns about terrorism following package bombings at 2 foreign embassies in Rome today. The bombs appear to be the work of anarchists, not Islamists, but as Alan Pizzi reports, that is little comfort to European security officials.
The first bomb was delivered by mail to the Swiss embassy, seriously injuring the employee who opened the package. Less than 3 hours later, another blast, this time at the embassy of Chile. Once again, an employee was badly hurt. Tonight, an Italian news agency is reporting that a statement found at one of the scenes claimed the bombs were the work of a group called the Italian Anarchist Federation.
The bombs may have been small, but they will certainly increase tension across Europe, where terrorist alert levels were already being ratcheted up in anticipation of a possible major attack over the Christmas period.
Today's events were similar to a wave of 14 unsuccessful mail bomb attacks in November aimed at European embassies and politicians. Greek anarchists are the prime suspects. But the big fear in Europe has been Islamic terrorism, and it's been a busy couple of months with a botched suicide bombing in Sweden, arrests of terror suspects in the UK and Spain, and security alerts in Germany and France. The timing of today's attacks could not have been worse. The security services are already on high alert as this city fills up with tourists gathering for the traditional Christmas Day celebrations in St. Peter's Square. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Rome.
There are also new tensions tonight between the two Koreas, the North cranking up its threats today as the South staged the biggest live-fire war games in its history. South Korean tanks and attack helicopters put on a thunderous display just 20 miles from the border. The North's military chief called it a provocation and said the North is ready to defend itself with nuclear weapons. Back in this country, most members of Congress went home today after wrapping up business last night. And whether you like the laws they passed or not, there is no denying the 111th Congress was the most productive in decades. Here's congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes.
Despite all the talk of gridlock,
Adjourned, sine die.
the gavel has come down on one of the busiest periods in congressional history.
I think this Congress really will go down in the record books as one of the more remarkably productive of the past half century.
Starting with the $787 billion stimulus bill. Then there was the first-time homebuyer tax credit and cash for clunkers, a crackdown on credit card companies, and Wall Street reform, student loan reform, loans for small businesses, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act for women, and the confirmation of 2 Supreme Court justices.
Congratulations.
This has been the most extraordinary 2 years I've ever seen.
Veteran Democrat Dick Durbin pushed through 2 of his longtime priorities, tobacco reform and food safety reform, giving the FDA sweeping new powers to regulate cigarettes and the nation's food supply.
Democrats in Congress got so much flack from liberals in this country who said you weren't doing enough.
There will always be people within the party who want you to be more faithful to what they consider the principles and values of the party.
That was true of health care reform, which extended insurance to 32 million Americans.
The yeas are 219, the nays are 212.
But divided the Congress and the country.
I do not want health care fixed.
We don't think this bill ought to pass.
Democrats owe their success to their large majorities, which enabled them to ram bills through despite Republican opposition.
We came here to do a job. We got much of it done. It all relates to solving problems for America's families.
Solving problems could get a lot more complicated come January when the two parties will be sharing control of Congress for the first time since 2001. Republicans, who will be taking over the House, have already set their sights on reworking health care reform and Wall Street reform. Erica?
We'll be busy come January. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, he works harder than Santa's elves to bring holiday cheer to thousands. But up next, she had plenty of money for retirement. Then the court appointed a guardian. Now you are supporting her. Our next story is about a woman you've never met, even though you're supporting her with your tax dollars. She actually had plenty of money of her own, but then a court appointed guardians to look out for her best interests. Her relatives, though, say the guardians had only one interest: themselves. Cheryl Atkinson investigates.
As children of the Depression, Marie and Cliff Long lived frugally and invested wisely. Cliff died in 2003. Madeline and Jeanette are Marie's sisters.
How much money did your sister have saved?
They say about $1.3 million.
$1.3 million, enough to last the rest of Marie's life, or so the couple thought. With Marie in declining health, there were no children. Her daughter died of cancer at age 16, her son in Vietnam. To make decisions on her finances and care, the court appointed a guardian, an agency called the Sun Valley Group. First, as guardian, Sun Valley's owners, Peter and Heather Finette, hired themselves to provide Marie's personal care. That way, they collected not only guardian fees, but up to $15,000 a month in companion care fees, too. When a Sun Valley worker started a fire in Marie's kitchen, Marie was charged for 4 employees to confer about it. The rate, up to $105 per hour for each worker. When another Sun Valley worker locked herself out of Marie's house, $85 an hour for each employee who conferred about that. Sun Valley found a dozen ways to charge Marie to get her own weekly petty cash. They charge to prepare the cash, confer about it, review the status, draft a letter to the courier, call the courier, pay the courier. You get the idea. And just look at what Sun Valley charged Marie to send her and their worker to a Phoenix Suns basketball game. Over $1,000 for research, phone calls, a limo.
Couldn't a taxi cab have taken them? I mean, a limousine?
Sun Valley even charged Marie $228 to determine the effect of the game on her mood. When her sisters complained, Sun Valley hired lawyers and charged Marie for that too. Attorneys got $409,000 of Marie's money in just 4 years, and Sun Valley walked away with $430,000.
Today, what is your sister's financial status?
Zero. Everything's been taken from her.
We wanted to talk to Sun Valley CEO Peter Frenette, so we visited his Phoenix office.
Here to see Mr. Frenette. Mr. Frenette is not in.
He wasn't available. In writing, Frenette said he can't discuss Marie because of litigation. He did say guardians often parachute into family battlefields. This surrounding conflict can create extraordinary fees to be incurred. The court official who appointed Sun Valley in 2005 and an appeals judge defended Sun Valley's performance. They said the limo, the grease fire, all the expenses were reasonable, necessary, and for Marie's benefit. The court even blamed Marie's sisters for complaining about it and running up costs.
The court said you're the problem.
If we wanted my sister to have good health care, if that's what run up the cost, then I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
Then so am I.
Senator Herb Kohl, chairman of the Committee on Aging, says it's a national problem. His investigators found millions of dollars in money allegedly squandered or stolen by court-appointed guardians. They say Marie's case shows why new laws are needed to protect the vulnerable from their own guardians. Unfortunately, nobody told Marie that in Arizona, as the widow of a veteran, she could have gotten a guardian for just $75 a month. She's too frail to talk to us now, but spoke to a newspaper reporter last year.
Do you wonder about your money?
Yes, but from what I hear, there isn't.
Today, Marie is 89 and now lives on Medicaid at taxpayer expense. Sun Valley withdrew as her guardian 12 days after her money ran out. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Phoenix, Arizona.
A word of caution now about some graphic video we're about to show you. It's from a dramatic protest in Romania's parliament. A man denouncing government budget cuts, as you can see, threw himself from a balcony. Now, he plummeted more than 20 feet. We're told he was distraught over losing benefits for his disabled child. His injuries are not life-threatening. Here at home, a special item was auctioned off last night. It was the purse used by a school board member in Panama City, Florida last week as she tried to stop a gunman. That purse sold for $13,000. That money, plus an equal donation from the bag's maker, will go to a Christmas toy charity, which is run by the security chief who shot and wounded the gunman, who then took his own life. Up next, a child shall lead us to the real meaning of Christmas. Finally tonight, just when you thought the holidays had been hijacked for good by crass commercial interests, along comes a little boy to set us all straight. Here's national correspondent Jim Axelrod with tonight's American Spirit of Giving.
I'll get them for you. Forget the red suit, white beard, and belly. Sometimes Santa goes for a slightly different look.
Say thank you.
You're welcome.
Justin Martin is all the Santa these kids could want.
This is my third year doing it, and so far in all the years that I've done it, I've given away over 2,000 bears.
Which is a good thing. Oh my goodness! Because for some at this inner city school in Newark, New Jersey, he's all the Santa they're going to get.
What are you going to do with him?
Take him home.
You're going to take him home?
Of course.
What are you going to do with him at home?
I'm going to put him on my daddy go to sleep. Here's one for you.
At 8 years old, Justin has a deeper understanding of the holiday spirit than many adults ever will.
Thank you.
What feels better, the presents you get or all these bears that you give?
The bears that I give. I don't know why.
3 years ago, when he was 5, Justin got to thinking.
I was wondering if everyone in the world had a bear like mine.
Throw me a bear. When his father told him no they don't, Justin started raising enough money to give away 1,000 bears to needy and sick kids each holiday season.
It's fun?
It's fun, yeah, to go around and give bears to less fortunate children.
It's something his father can do nothing but marvel at.
Whatever he does, he's just got a big heart. He goes at it very, very hard.
While Justin's charity is clearly a labor of love, we can't stress enough just how much labor is involved. You see, Justin doesn't just deliver the bears he gives away, he makes them as well. Justin works at a local Build-A-Bear workshop, which provides bears at a discount. Still, he needs to raise $25,000 each year to meet his goal.
What do you think other kids should know? What should they learn?
That it's better to give than to receive.
Good job. A holiday lesson that never gets old, especially powerful when the teacher's so young. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Bridgewater, New Jersey.
And to think he started it all when he was only 5. That is the CBS Evening News. For Katie Couric, I'm Erica Hill. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.